It's summertime in the Mediterranean, and millions of people are making their way to the gorgeous Greek islands or the sunny shores of France or Italy. But while they may not know it yet, some of them are sitting on borrowed time. That's because the Italian island of Ischia is about to collapse and take anyone who happens to be standing on it with it. So here's everything you need to know about this doomed island. But first things first, where exactly is this doomed island, and what makes it so dangerous? Well, Ischia is one of the most popular islands in all of Italy. Located off the coast of Naples, it is known for its gorgeous beaches, hot springs, and rich history. It has been inhabited by humans for over 2,000 years. And during the Roman Empire, it was a popular vacation spot for the rich and powerful. In fact, Pliny the Younger even described the island as being a place where one could be rejuvenated and cured of all diseases. Today, it is a popular destination for tourists from all over Europe, as well as a favorite spot for Italians to relax and enjoy the Mediterranean sun. However, beneath its idyllic exterior, the island is actually hiding a dark secret. That's because Ischia is actually a volcano. And while it has been dormant for several hundred years, it is due for an eruption that will destroy the entire island. In fact, scientists believe that it could erupt at any time, causing massive damage and loss of life. So, if you're planning on taking a trip to Ischia, you may want to think again. To understand why this island is so dangerous, it helps to understand a little bit about volcanoes in general. A volcano is formed when magma from the Earth's core rises up through the crust. When it reaches the surface, it can create a new landmass. However, not all volcanoes are created equal. Some are much more active than others, and some pose a much greater risk to human life. Take Mount Vesuvius, for example. This active volcano is located near Naples, Italy, and it is responsible for the destruction of the Roman city of Pompeii in 79 AD. Mount Vesuvius is a stratovolcano, which means that it is formed by layers of ash and lava. This type of volcano is known for its explosive eruptions, which can be devastating to nearby towns and cities. Mount Vesuvius is considered to be one of the most dangerous volcanoes in the world, and it is constantly being monitored by scientists. If it were to erupt again, it would cause widespread damage and loss of life. Then there is the much more active Mount Etna, which is located in Sicily, Italy. Mount Etna is also a stratovolcano, and it is the tallest active volcano in Europe. It erupts frequently, but its eruptions are usually not very violent. However, Mount Etna has the potential to cause major damage and disruption if it were to erupt violently. Finally, there is Ischia Island, which is located off the coast of Naples, Italy. Unlike Mount Vesuvius and Mount Etna, Ischia is a submerged volcano. This means that most of the volcano is underwater, and only a small portion of it is above the surface. Ischia has not erupted in several hundred years, but scientists believe that it is due for an eruption soon. So why is Ischia Island so dangerous? Well, the main danger posed by Ischia is its potential to cause a tsunami. A tsunami is a giant wave that is usually caused by an earthquake or volcanic activity. Tsunamis can cause massive damage to coastal areas, and they are one of the most destructive natural disasters that can occur. Scientists believe that Ischia could erupt underwater and cause a tsunami that would hit the nearby coast of Italy. This could cause widespread damage and loss of life. In addition to the threat of a tsunami, Ischia also poses a risk to air traffic. If the volcano were to erupt, it could send ash and debris into the air, which could damage aircraft engines and disrupt air travel. This could have major implications for the local economy, which relies heavily on tourism. So what can be done to mitigate the risks posed by Ischia? Well, one option is to evacuate the island. This would obviously be a last resort, but it may be necessary if the volcano appears to be on the verge of eruption. Another option is to build early warning systems to give people as much notice as possible if an eruption is imminent. These systems could include sirens as well as mobile phone alerts. Finally, there is the option of trying to monitor the volcano closely and see if an eruption can be predicted before it happens. This is obviously the best-case scenario, but it is also the most difficult. The good news is that scientists are constantly working to improve our ability to predict volcanic eruptions. They have developed new technologies that allow them to monitor volcanoes more closely and give us more accurate predictions of when they might erupt. This gives us the best chance possible of mitigating the damage caused by a volcanic eruption. But how likely is it that Ischia will erupt in the first place? Well, that is a difficult question to answer. Scientists can't say for sure when or even if the volcano will erupt. However, they do know that it is overdue for an eruption. The last eruption occurred several hundred years ago, and scientists typically monitor volcanoes closely to try to predict when they might erupt again. There are several signs that can indicate that a volcano is about to erupt. These signs include increased seismic activity, changes in the shape of the volcano, and changes in the gases that are emitted from it. If these signs are detected, then scientists may issue a warning and people may need to be evacuated from the area. It is important to note that not all volcanoes erupt in the same way. Some volcanoes erupt violently, while others erupt more slowly. An explosive eruption can send ash and debris into the air and cause major damage to nearby buildings and infrastructure. A more slow-burning eruption may not cause as much damage, but it can still pose a risk to human life. If Ischia does erupt, then the damage could be significant. The island is home to several towns and villages that could be destroyed by the eruption. The surrounding waters could also be affected, potentially causing a tsunami that could hit the nearby coastline. But what can we do to prepare for such a disaster? Well, education is key. People living near volcanoes need to be aware of the risks and know what to do in the event of an eruption. This includes having a plan in place for evacuating the area if necessary. Additionally, monitoring the volcano closely and heeding the advice of scientists is crucial. If an eruption is imminent, it is important to follow their guidance and take the necessary precautions. It is also important to remember that not all volcanic eruptions are created equal. Some volcanoes are more likely to erupt violently than others, and some may not pose a major risk to human life. As such, it is important to stay informed and be prepared for different scenarios. In the case of Ischia, it is important to pay attention to the warning signs and take the necessary precautions if an eruption is on the horizon. With proper planning and preparation, the impact of a volcanic eruption can be minimized and lives can be saved. Overall, it is clear that volcanoes are a powerful force of nature that should be respected. While they can pose a serious threat to human life and property, they are also a reminder of the awesome power of the natural world. By understanding volcanoes and taking the necessary precautions, we can coexist with them and enjoy the beauty that they have to offer. Now you need to watch. Why did ancient Rome fall? Or have a look at